What's up, everyone? What? Shoot. What? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin,
My name's David.
I'm Josh.
and we have the trailer for Season 3 of The Mandalorian that dropped yesterday during Monday Night Football. I watched a sports game just for the trailer. That's right. I'm that guy.
Nice.
Yep, that's me. Cool. Anyways, we we have a decent amount to talk about because this trailer showed a lot more than I thought it was going to. What were your guys'
Initial
reactions?
I feel like it was less than I thought it was gonna be personally, because I mean, you've seen this. Have you seen this trailer because of Celebration?
We saw there were a couple of shots in there where I was like, "Oh, nice, cool," because those shots were definitely at Celebration. But there were a decent amount of the other stuff in there that was not, and I was very happy to see it. I was very surprised to see it. Because most of the time with these trailers, it doesn't show you that much. But I feel like we got a lot more than we normally do, which I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. I know some people are complaining about, certain things that they were hoping that weren't going to happen, which, I mean, like, for example, there's a scene that's Order 66 that's very clear. It's hinting at who saved Grogu. Which David has a great theory on that, which we'll definitely talk about when we get to that part of the trailer.
Got a few theories, actually.
Yeah, but I am very, very thrilled, and I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped for Season 3. And that month of March is going to be so busy for not just for us for the podcast, because we have so much content to cover, but just for Star Wars fans in general. It's going to be a lot of fun. But
I love the trailer, but I also loved being able to. It gives enough of that we can speculate on different things, which is what I love about these Star Wars trailers that they have been dropping, is how much they leave in open air for us to speculate where it's going to go throughout the story. So I'm very excited to see our new twists and turns throughout the series.
Yeah, likewise. But before we get started, let's recognize our Patreon support.
Patreon.
On the purple tier, we have Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel. On the red tier, we have Fenrir526, Maya Morris. And on the black tier, we have Maka Tawatala, Nathan Shank, Evan Opaker, and Leanne McCallion. Thank you so much for all the great support, helping us get to Celebration and do some cool stuff here. So, on to the trailer. So
let's go.
Let me load it up here.
Did you guys notice that the Din Djarin said this is the way like 3 or 4 times? Like he said it a lot in this trailer, and I was kind of thrown off by it because, like, I get it. That's the main saying, but now I'm wondering if they said that a decent amount in the trailer because they're trying to say there's more meaning to that now. And they also hinted at that as well, because in the beginning he said that there's more to the way of the Mandalorian than just having weapons and everything. It's about traveling and knowing your way around the universe, and I don't think that's how most of us looked at the people from Mandalore. And I'm very curious if maybe they're gonna explore more and more of the culture of the Mandalorians than what we already know, which we all love. We all love world building, so I'm all for it. But I just noticed that he said that a lot in the trailer. Then.
Yeah, it feels like a melding of his like bounty hunting experience along with being a child of the Watch. But one thing that did pop up, though, people were saying that there's an extra frame of trailer or an extra little scene that's on the Disney Plus trailer as opposed to what was released. And I'll point that out when it comes up here.
All right.
Now people are scattered.
What planet do we think this is on? Just out of curiosity.
I'm not sure because this has them all together.
Yeah. I could see this being the planet from the first season, where he meets Quail, and they maybe went back to the planet, kind of. I mean, maybe to pay homage to him, but also because it's kind of in the outer rim. It's not very well known. The Empire probably doesn't have the planet even on the radar. So I could definitely see them that being a planet that they're on. I could possibly seeing it being Ryloth. I would love for them to go to Ryloth in live action. I think that'd be great. I'm just kind of hoping that's Ryloth, but I doubt it is.
Batu.
Or it could be Batu. I'm not seeing any full out spires, but that's wishful thinking.
Yeah. One of the kind of interesting notes about this trailer was everyone's commenting that Bo-Katan is not in the trailer. I think that's Bo-Katan right in the center there, actually. And there's 7 of them, which might be like a little nod to 7 Samurai, possibly. But yeah, we get a shot right here from the trailer that they gave us at Celebration. And again, notice all the multicolored armor. And it looks like 2 female Mandalorians there that are depicted by their visors that are slanted there. And if you look at the antenna of the guy on the right, it's bent, which is kind of interesting. Seen some action. So yeah, this is pretty much the prop that we saw at Celebration.
Oh my gosh, dude, it was so cool. I think every like 5 minutes it would Grogu would end up just kind of stopping at a certain point. He would wave to people. It was random every time, and then he would put his hand down.
That's
and then
cool.
he would just keep doing his thing. It was so cool, man.
Was there an operator?
I didn't see one. I did not see one. I think we went to the Mandalorian experience. I think I went at least 3 or 4 times. Because I know the last time we all went with John Henry. And
Right.
And
because I do know there's an operator. There were several operators for the Bantha.
Yes.
There was actually guys inside of it, right?
Yeah, and
that's cool.
That was also the same Bantha that got broke down on the highway. That like truck got
was it?
Well, that truck had to pull over to the side of the road, and people were like, "There's a giant Bantha in the back of a truck," and people were like, "Oh yeah, that has to be something related with Star Wars Celebration." And I'm like, and then when we showed up to the show floor and we didn't see it, I was like, "All right, where's the Bantha?" And then after the Lucasfilm panel, they were like, right now you can sign up for the Mandalorian experience. And Jon Favreau explained to us what it was, and they had the actual props. I think the first time I went, I think I did FaceTime Josh, or I called him and was just like, dude, check this out, man. And it was just
making the Bantha sound. I was like, nice.
Yeah, it was like, it was like, oh, dude, it's sick.
Very cool prop. I want to say there was someone operating Grogu in the bubble there, because he would pop up and wave. Like, for people that were directly looking and like saying the name, it was too much of a coincidence, I think, for him to like pop up and actually have some action.
That's really cool.
So yeah, he's actually in the lap of Din Djarin. He's out of the bubble, and as we'll see here in a little bit,
for a reason.
Yeah, and he's back on Navarro, it looks like.
Yeah.
And Everything it
Looks like
seems to be a
nicer.
little bit more upscale.
It looks like they added a bunch of construction too, because of the buildings look a lot taller.
Yeah.
Than I mean, and I don't think we also know how much time has passed. So that would make sense to me. And we see the
Kowakian monkey lizard.
Kowakian monkey lizard. Oh my gosh, is that Salacious Crumb? I remember from the I remember from season 1 when you saw the one of them getting cooked, and then you saw the other one in the cage. I know everyone was like, that's him. He's from Jabba's palace, and I'm just like, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, the crazy thing was there was another monkey lizard staring at his buddy on the spit.
Yeah. Oh man.
And that monkey lizard was chittering. This one wasn't. It was almost like they lifted Salacious Crumb's audio from Return of the Jedi, just had him say a phrase. So yeah, we get Grief Karga there, and looks like he is now a magistrate.
And he was one like a long time ago, right?
I like that statue. That's really cool. With his IG-88 on top of all the helmets.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like to honor IG-88 and his sacrifice.
That statue was in season 2 as well. I think we saw it for a brief second in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you notice there, he's stepping on stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And of course, there's the big nod to one of the classic 80s movie handshakes right here.
I love Predator.
Dylan.
Can we go back to him flying through the rain for a second? All right.
Sure.
Do we think he is flying into the planet of flying into the planet of Mandalore, or do we think it's a different planet that he's flying into where there's a bunch of rain?
Did they make a comment that there was acid rain on Mandalore right now? I can't remember.
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Okay, because
there's volcanoes, I believe, on Mandalore.
Okay.
There is?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were talking about how inhospitable it is, so I was wondering what the rain could mean.
And there we have the ruins of the dome that we saw destroyed in the Book of Boba Fett.
I remember seeing that shot at Celebration, and we all just freaked out because it's crazy to see different locations from the Clone Wars and like animation, and then you see them in live action. It's just crazy to think about because I think it's a lot of us that never thought that things from animation would come into live action. And I remember season 2 seeing Ahsoka, seeing Bo-Katan. It was incredible. And now we're getting more of those locations. And the fact that we're going back to a planet where we spent a decent amount of time in the Clone Wars TV show is incredible. It's definitely not the same because half of it is gone. But it's going to be awesome to explore more of the planet. And is it me, or does it look like there's grass kind of towards the left of the city?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I think when we first saw this at Celebration, I heard someone say out loud, "It's the Death Star." And like people like turned and looked at that person.
Do not give me a flashback to when we saw the trailer for Rise of Skywalker at Celebration, and someone that we kind of know was like kind of behind us, and they were just like, oh my gosh, it's the Emperor. And this is the first time anyone was seeing it, and they were right behind us, and they were just screaming it in our ears. And I just remember James was was doing a reaction to it on YouTube, and it got a bunch of views, and it was awesome. But you just hear this guy be like, "Oh my gosh, it's the Death Star! It's the Emperor!" And we're just like, dude, just enjoy the trailer, man. But
People
yeah.
get excited, Colin. in
Yeah,
different
I
ways.
know, but sometimes it's overkill. But anyways,
And
there's
there
our
we go.
5.
R5D4.
Finally, my favorite Force sensitive.
Yeah, it's that thing that Star Wars does. It brings back other characters, droids, and kind of reweaves them into the newer story, like a lot like what the prequels did with R2 and 3PO, how Anakin built them, and just bringing known characters back. And you hear people, I think, say they're making the universe smaller, but I like these little touches right here. So now it looks like R5D4 will now have a bigger role in live action. And I know there's the certain point of view books that talk about his story. If you haven't read those books or listened to the audiobook, definitely listen to it. It kind of sheds light on that particular droid's story in the film A New Hope when his motivator blows, and it's an awesome thing that Star Wars does. One of my favorite things. And Mando says, "May the Force be with you," which is does that really fit?
Do you think she's still missing that one tooth, or do you think she went to the space
I
dentist?
totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She believes in the Force now because she's seen Force sensitive droids.
Possibly.
Confirmed.
All right. What planet do we think this is? I think it is Navarro. I will just feed into Josh's hope that it's that it is Batu. He's just traveling across the galaxy, and then he's like, I should stop by Black Spire Outpost and see and go and talk to Oga or something. And then he just he like goes in there for like 2 minutes, just walks through the marketplace, gets back in his ship, takes off, and then it's nighttime, fireworks are going off.
And if you look closely right there, you can see the chainmail that Grogu's wearing.
Which, fun fact, if you go to Galaxy's Edge and you actually walk into Doc Ondar's, you can see the helmet of Mando and his rifle, and then you can also see the chainmail that he made for him in that Mando made for Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
I wonder what he's up to. I really wonder what he's up to. This is interesting to me. This shot was really interesting.
Coruscant. Why?
Yeah. And I actually got to meet this actor, Omid Abtahi, I believe. I actually met him at the elevator going to the parking garage in Anaheim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got a picture with him. I talked to him for a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, come on the podcast." He's like, "Sure, just email me." And I was like, "Okay." Never got the email, but he said he would love to be on the podcast. So.
Well, you never told me that, or James.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I don't remember that, but all right, cool.
Was it at Celebration?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys had a lot on your mind. You're good.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff going on because I think right before that I did the interview with Anthony Bresnikan as well.
Oh yeah.
For Vanity Fair. So coming off of that, I ran into him, and it was just a lot. And I think
you
I
were
was
so
running
hyped, bro.
Anakin wig.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Colin wouldn't have forgotten his Anakin wig in my hotel room, I would have never done the Vanity Fair thing. I would have never met this actor.
You're welcome. You're welcome, David. That's what heroes do. I got you, bro. I got you.
And that's really what made me want to just like roam that like main entrance, because you would see so many like different people from Star Wars, like podcasters and writers.
I'm so excited for Josh because I know I keep hyping it up for him, but Josh, I'm telling you, this is going to be such a wonderful experience because it's so much fun, man. It's so much fun. And then also it's in London, so that's super cool. And the fact that you're walking into a Star Wars filled environment that is mainly fan based, and then you're also seeing some of the props and other people that that are from all across the world that are Star Wars fans. It's fantastic. It's a to me like I say every time, it's cheesy, but to me it was a life-changing experience the first time I went. So hopefully it's the same for you. But
Yeah. And I think we're all kind of in agreement. This is probably Coruscant, right?
yeah.
I would believe it is.
We
Yeah.
were talking about it earlier to where I thought it was the planet that we see that gets blown up in Force Awakens, because after the New Republic formed, they had to convince the Senate to move it to a different planet. They didn't really say why they wanted to move it from Coruscant, but I figured because that was the main planet for the Empire, and they wanted to kind of leave that in the dust, so they wanted to move to a different planet, which is very similar to Coruscant, but I'm hoping that it's Coruscant. I think it's Coruscant. That was just a theory. I could totally see it being that, because at this point in the timeline they are kind of moving stuff for the New Republic and kind of forming the new Senate. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. Also, if you look at that droid too, that droid really resembles that first sketch or that painting that Ralph McQuarrie did of C-3PO.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've seen that type of protocol droid since Star Wars Rebels, because if we saw the Ralph McQuarrie type style of a protocol droid in Rebels, and that was like the new type of protocol droid at the time. So I could definitely see them adding of that being that same type of droid. But there's a lot of droids in this, and I know a lot of the droid builders are excited. But
So this is the frame that I don't think aired on TV
no.
of the Star Destroyer.
Oh, okay.
And that looks like, to the right with the trench coat, that looks like that's Dr. Pershing,
Okay.
next to her real name is Katie, but she was the officer in Mandalorian season 2 on the deck.
Oh yeah.
She was the female officer. Yeah,
She was the one that everybody thought that was Sabine,
right,
undercover. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that theory was stupid, but
So is this being built or being dismantled?
I think it's being
built. And if you look across the way, it looks like there's at least one more Star Destroyer over that ridge there, and possibly another one next to it.
This was also part of the trailer shot from Celebration, and then directly after we saw Babu Frick in it. And I remember people were surprised that we were seeing a Star Destroyer, and on top of that, it was a different angle too, right?
It feels like it was a different angle.
Yeah. That shot didn't show up in the trailer that we saw that happen on.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's
why?
And the rank that he is wearing in this is
Rancor class.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, could it be maybe he's from the Rancor Squadron or something like that? I think there is a Rancor Squadron that's canon. I'll double check on that. But
yeah, he switched out his pilot uniform for a leather jacket there. It's
Yeah, that
Carson
jacket's
Teva.
sick. I'd love to buy that.
And that right there's that corridor that we saw, a real quick shot where I believe he's at the throne talking to Bo-Katan, who we don't see her face in the trailer. But the way that the dialogue is constructed in the trailer, it really seems like they kind of just meshed it all together just to make like a cohesive trailer. But I think it's dialogue to possibly several different characters. Might be to Grogu, Bo-Katan.
I mean, we don't see their mouth move, so they could be saying anything.
Yeah. So this, I think we're all in kind of assumption that this is the underneath of Mandalore. He's going to the living waters to try and cleanse his sin of removing his helmet here.
I think my theory for that is he'll get ready to, go and do that, and then I think he'll be that actually I think there's more to the way of the Mandalorian than this. I don't need to go down this path, and then he chooses not to do it.
Interesting.
Because I think after speaking with Bo-Katan and talking to a couple of the other people, he maybe now has a different view. His varsity jacket for the running rank course, nice. I think that he possibly now has a different view than what he did, and maybe when he was talking to the armorer in the Book of Boba Fett and everything, he felt bad. But after some of the experiences that he has going forward, I think he might say that this is the old way, and it doesn't have to be. And I think that might cause like a kind of rift through the ranks of the Mandalorians. And
Well,
I think
one of the main things is with this, the underlying theme is someone who has to bring people together as a leader because now he has the dark saber, but he is someone who doesn't want to lead. He's like, I'd much rather put that on Bo-Katan because she should take it. But I feel like this whole season is going to be him truly bringing them together and leading them on towards the future. Whereas this is like, I don't know with this helmet if this is more like ancient or it's from when it was glassed.
right.
That's the kind of thing I want to figure out because I feel like he's going to learn much more like backstory for the Mandalorians because I mean, even we had like season 1 with the whole blurg scene, as much of the history that he knows about his like his whole Mandalorian creed, it's not a lot. It keeps on coming up at different points of them being like, oh, he didn't even know about this. So I feel like he's going to learn a lot more about his past, his creed's past, and decide like, hey, we are scattered right now. Let's come together and realize that we are all one Mandalore. So I was like, that's what I'm excited to see. I wonder if this is meant to be an ancient helmet or it's meant to be one that's glass. That's when I saw this. I was like,
I'm leaning towards one that's glass because I mean it's kind of right at the surface. He kind of just picks it up. A lot of people were kind of thinking it might be Tar Vizsla. I don't think it's Tar Vizsla's helmet. I think it's just a glass helmet from what the Empire did, and maybe what Sabine helped create for the Empire to melt Beskar from Rebels. So
the only reason I say that is because it doesn't have any visor and neither does it have anything inside the helmet. It's literally just the metal.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, yeah, that could be burned away, but I would have thought that it would have been lasted.
Yeah. So then we get this shot right here that really got everyone going.
I heard from someone today, and I was like, there's no way. But someone told me that, dude, have you heard the theory that the person breaking through the door is R2-D2? And I just sat there, and I was like, can you explain that one to me? And they're like, yeah, because he's got his laser cutting thing. And I'm like, do you see how big the laser is going through the door right there? There's no way that's R2. And
I know it's clearly Mace Windu.
That's what a lot of people want too, though. When we had Richie and Chanel on from Balance of the Force on, we were talking about Mace Windu coming in, and that's great, but it's got to work. Like we really want it, but it's got to work. They just can't throw it in there. They have to make it make sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, the way that door is opening up, it doesn't seem like it's a lightsaber. It seems like it's maybe some type of like tech tool that the clones are using or whatever.
It's not R2. I'm not sure.
What would really be cool is if Anakin pops through there or Palpatine comes through there and like just goes off on these Jedi.
What was your theory for who saved Grogu, David? Did you have like some separate theories now that you've watched this trailer? Anything change?
I never had an overriding theory, but it's always been on the back of my mind because when I went to the celebration in Orlando where I met Colin, we all went to the 40th panel. We saw Samuel L. Jackson almost begging to come back to Star Wars. And it's like, well, how do you bring him back to Star Wars in a logical, non-silly way? I mean, this is maybe the best possible way to do it. I know we kind of joke about it and everything, but then I think after seeing this trailer, my wheels started turning. And I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't one particular Jedi or character that saves Grogu. Maybe it takes the entire surviving Jedi Order in that temple to kind of like almost like a video game. Like they all just get like cut through, and maybe Grogu's in that pram and that little egg floating around and just gets pinballed. I mean, you never know. I mean, it might be something like that. But with Dave Filoni, I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be something a little bit more poetic. But
do you think that they knew like Baby Grogu's worth before they went in to go and like kill them all?
I see what you're saying, but I don't necessarily think that they need to actually know that, because I think their M count is all high, and I think that's what the Empire, the old Empire, is looking forward to possibly establish the foundations for the sequel trilogy and the clones for Snoke and bringing Palpatine back. But I mean, it feels like a classic character, has to know something about Grogu, and it feels like we might learn something about a classic character that already knew of Grogu's whereabouts, because it almost feels like he was just straight up hidden. He was hidden from everyone.
Yeah. His flashback was from the Book of Boba Fett was triggered by Luke Skywalker. So maybe he runs into maybe they run into Ahsoka again or some other Force Wheeler, and it helps jog his memory, and then that's how we find out. Or Mace Windu randomly, hang on, this is a very important comment. Max Rebo is Force sensitive, then became an entertainer after saving Baby Yoda. Huh. I like it. I love where your head is, but I'm gonna have to say maybe. It's a big maybe. But no, I could see maybe they end up running into Mace Windu, and then Mace Windu is the one that kind of helps refresh the memory. That would be a cool way to bring him in, and then that would be a cool way to do season two for the Book of Boba Fett, because Boba finds out that Mace is alive, and then Mace Windu becomes the main antagonist for Boba in season 2 of Boba, because that is rumored right now that season 2 is happening for that. And I think having Mace Windu as the main antagonist for that would
be great.
A lot of the classic dark side of Boba that we know from Legends, including from The Empire Strikes Back. I think that would be amazing.
Was there ever an Ortolan Jedi in the temple? Mace or Max Rebo's species?
I mean, it was hinted at, way back in the High Republic and stuff like that.
How do they hold the lightsaber?
Don't you dare. Don't be that guy. I don't know if Carlos and Dylan told you about all of the discussions that we have all the time, but I'm telling you, he has 2 legs. He's got 2 arms. This right here is the way that he looks. Don't let anyone tell you different. But yeah. All right. And then we see him flying through. He's getting chased by a bunch of TIE.
Well, you say him. I think it's Bo-Katan and her Mando shuttle Fang, I believe it's called. Being chased by TIE interceptors, the fastest Empire ships, single fighter Empire ships there. So
6 of them.
Yeah, this should be a really cool action sequence. And it looks to be, probably on Mandalore. I know they intercut it with Din Djarin and Grogu, but I don't think they're piloting this.
No, not that scene. Okay, yeah. So for the
battle droids,
there's a lot happening in this scene right here. Wow. Now some are saying this is that this is the cantina on Mos Eisley, and it's all for droids. That
would
would
be pretty
be
funny.
that would be so ironic because of the guy that owned it specifically said no droids because his parents were killed by battle droids in the Clone Wars. And I
It's
don't
the
think we
perfect
ever found
inverse of that.
yeah. And I don't think we ever found out what happened to him, right?
I think a droid killed him.
Oh jeez.
I wouldn't doubt this is like Navarro again because we know how
Yeah.
appreciated droids are. So
No,
wouldn't-
Josh, Tatooine.
okay, my bad.
I could see this being the droid shop of maybe where Babu Frick kind of starts his kind of area, and then he goes to Jimmy later, and then you have Zori and Poe that meet there and all that stuff. At this time in the timeline, I think Poe is a young kid. I think he's maybe like 4 or 5 or something. So we probably won't see him show up, but we know that he ends up becoming a spice runner between the events of Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing in Star Wars that droids are sentient beings, but they're still treated like objects most of the time. And if you look closely at the tables, it looks like the battle droids and that one droid in the center, they are drinking, but they're drinking through tubes in their chest, I believe.
I
So they
think
are being served drinks.
Delicious oil.
I think seeing the live action B1 battle droids like actually working and moving, that's kind of surreal to me because I never thought we would see that again. So that's awesome. And I feel like we're getting a lot of the separatist droids this year because they're also coming back in Jedi Survivor. There'll be actual people you'll be able to fight in the game. You also saw them in the last episode of the Bad Batch as well. And then you have them in the new trailer for Mando. And I don't know how large of a role they'll play, but that's kind of interesting that we're seeing more of those droids coming back.
Yeah, it's interesting that one droid in the back there, the white one that's kind of hunched over, he survived. The sandcrawler made it out.
I don't think that's the exact one though. I mean that could be a callback, but then it's just like, okay, so like he survived and R5 didn't. Like, I don't know. No. I'm sorry. It was the other way around. Anyways. They all look at the screen. They all jump out. They're on Navarro. Or is it Black Spire Outpost?
Could be
Wouldn't that
two.
be nice? Wouldn't that be nice?
Then we can have a whole attraction where they all kind of jump out.
Wait. Go back shot. What happened to IG-11 statue?
He came alive off those rebar.
And then he's like, oh, man.
So, yeah, I mean, you figure he got blown up, the IG-11 statue, but where are his parts and stuff, you know?
Yeah, interesting.
He could have walked off of that thing and joined the battle. Who knows?
There is Paz Vizsla. He's
Jon
back.
Favreau.
Yep. He is not the actual person inside the suit, though.
Oh,
yeah.
Destroyed the magic.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got his awesome chain gun there that only he can carry.
He's walking through.
I see a female Mandalorian with an antenna and a skirt.
Yep. He gets brought down. And then
two little frickers.
We don't. Oh, okay.
Babu and his buddy.
Yeah. Now we can't tell that if it's Babu or not.
I think the one on the right is Babu, and the one on the left is his brother. I don't know, his dad. I don't know, something.
I think the trailer from Celebration, it it showed us a shot of Babu, like in particular, and then it showed us a big shot of him and the rest of his species there. And I'm just curious of what's going on there. I think this is where maybe Babu started, and then he moves to Kajimi, like I said before. And this could be like his origin story, I guess. But yeah.
I would like to think that Babu Frick and his species can live longer.
They
yeah.
can, because the
species.
one that worked on building the Halcyon.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome to see the back. I think Babu Frick stock is going to go up,
Oh yeah.
way up, and we get
All right.
Baby Yoda back in the
I-
pram, flying around.
I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
I know we talked about we talked about a cross species of Yodas that was more of a dark sider species was gonna try and kidnap Grogu at some point. And maybe this might be that cross species because it's wearing a mask. It's
Right.
It's definitely wearing a mask, and I think they did that because they didn't want to reveal that it was that species. But Grogu force pushes out of the cave. We see the feet
Yeah.
that look kind of similar to Yoda's, and in a way. And then you see him, you see Grogu kind of come out of the cave. He's using the Force. Here, I'll show you.
That's an interesting theory. So you're saying there's like you're
It's
having
an overgrown Yoda.
the dual kind of like one is super light side focused and like 100%
Yeah,
pure, whereas someone is
I
super dark side focused. But I always
think
thought that was
I
like
think it would be a cross species.
interesting.
Yeah. Because I know that was a rumor that we talked about a while ago of where we said that there was the potential and possibility of the species of Yoda, not the exact. I mean, it could be the exact, and maybe some of the cross species ends up trying to kidnap Grogu on the planet, and then that's how they learn. That's how we semi-learn more about the species of Yoda and everything, which that's a stretch. But after I saw that, that's the first thing that that popped in my head. But yeah, it's just a theory.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So where do you guys think this season is going to go? What do you think? What do you think the biggest answers we're going to get from this season are?
Who saved Grogu?
Yes.
I think we're going to finally get that.
I think we're also going to get more than we have so far about the birth of the First Order. I think people are not really seeing what's actually going on. I think the whole cloning thing that was happening on Navarro was slightly overlooked because we all know what that was, but the characters don't know. And the fact that we are getting more of Dr. Pershing, especially in Coruscant, where the Emperor was, and we know how obsessed he was with cloning. Maybe he went back for a specific reason. We also didn't see anything of Moff Gideon, but we know that he will. That the actor said that his character would be redeemed and that he would come back to the Empire and be more evil than ever. And we know that he doesn't like Grogu at all. Like he wants Grogu gone. And I think that this is going to end on I think it's going to end on a cliffhanger I don't
Mhm.
think it's going to be a happy one. I got a feeling it's not going to be, because with every season, with every show, it raises the stakes, and I think something is going to happen that we're not going to like. I don't know if it's going to be for some reason they kill off Grogu, which I don't think they will, but they could do something on the lines of taking out a main character of the show, or doing something that really affects a character.
I think
Yeah.
one of the things that I know a lot of people are wondering is when Bo-Katan's going to get the Darksaber. And I think it would be at the end of the season, and I think it's going to be because of her pushing and gathering all the Mandalorians. Din's going to go to try and hand it over. She's going to be like, no, because I have to earn it. And everyone around her is going to be like, you already did. And she's going to come to the conclusion that it's okay to take it. So I think that's what we're going to get as our, you don't have to fight each other. It's okay to be able to be like, you can take it now. Second thing, I feel like the cliffhanger for the end of this one is going to be Thrawn of this season. That's my biggest kind of hope or thinking that it's going to pop up.
Oh, I don't think we talked about. I don't think we talked about Cobb Vanth coming back either.
You're gonna wait till Boba. I bet you.
Cobb Vanth on Tatooine.
I think we're definitely getting a cameo from Boba. I think we're getting a cameo from Black Chrysanthemum. I could definitely see Cobb Vanth showing up, and then Mando's just surprised, and he's like, "Wait, you're alive?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I am more a machine than man," or something like that. They kind of make a reference back to the original trilogy, what Obi-Wan said about Vader. But I love Cobb Vanth. I love his character, so I would love to see him at least make a cameo in this season. But when and hopefully season 2 of Book of Boba is announced and everything, that we have a confirmation that he's coming back, because I love Cobb Vanth, and because they're going back to Tatooine, I could definitely see them doing that. But yeah. Final thoughts.
I'm hyped. I'm ready for this. March 1st, less than 2 months away. I think we're going to get a lot more than what these trailers have given us. A lot more surprises, a lot more connective tissue. It's going to be fast, intense, right up my alley. And yeah, like Josh was saying, hopefully we get some Thrawn stuff built in there. And we all know it's going to cross over with other shows. So hopefully we get the first
Skeleton
inklings.
Crew. Yeah. There's also the other new Star Wars show that's being in the process of being made right now by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, which it sounds like that will tie into stuff happening with Mando. I love how they're diving into this timeline, because it's a 30-year gap from Return of the Jedi to Force Awakens, and there's so much ground to cover. I honestly would love to see them maybe tie in stuff with like Luke, Han, and all of them, and the reason why I say that is because I know that there's a lot that happens in Rise of Skywalker, and I just went back and watched those, and I just remember Lando being like, "Oh yeah, like I went with Luke to this planet to find a wayfinder." Like maybe we see Luke and Lando doing that. I would love Lando to show up. I think doing a deep fake on Billy D. Williams would be amazing, and we know that he's always down for doing anything Star Wars, and that's made very, very clear throughout the years, because he showed up for almost every single thing in Lego. He also showed up for Star Wars Rebels. He came back for Rise of Skywalker. He wanted to be in Force Awakens and Last Jedi, so he's open for anything. And I think him coming into The Mandalorian would be awesome. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think even having like a small cameo in Coruscant or something like that, maybe even with Leia, that would be awesome. There's so much potential for these high profile characters to come back. I'm still waiting for the fight between Chewbacca and Black Chrysanthemum because they need a rematch. Because the last time they saw each other, Black Chrysanthemum just mopped the floor with Chewie, and just Chewie almost died. And then Han Solo came in and saved him at the last minute, or I think it was Luke.
So you think that one of the big three are going to come back?
Yes.
Okay,
In some way, if it ends up being Han Solo, I'm like, oh sweet, I'm all for it. Leia, I could see happening, possibly, just because she did pass away, and they would have to get permission from the family and everything. And I think that they would give like permission. I would be surprised if they didn't. But seeing maybe Han and Chewie would be awesome. I'm betting Lando would probably be the best bet for me. I could definitely see Lando just being like the main one that showed up in some way. Yeah. There you go. David, do you have any final thoughts?
Found the picture.
Oh. Nice.
It's a parking garage. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I found him. He does wear glasses in real life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the season. I'm so excited for this year. We are getting a new episode of The Bad Batch tomorrow. We have March, which is full of Star Wars. We have Star Wars Celebration. A bunch of new projects will be announced there. And then we have the rest of the year with Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, possibly the Acolyte. That's still up in the air if it's coming out at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. But there's so much content. It's gonna be awesome.
It's the year of Star Wars, Colin.
It's the year of Star Wars. That's right.
Visions Part 2.
Yep.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Possibly Rebel Moon on Netflix.
Oh yeah. The movie that Zack Snyder went to Lucasfilm about, and then they turned him away, and then Netflix picked it up.
Yeah, has an insane cast, man. Tons of names in it.
Really?
Yeah. I just saw Anthony Hopkins today's in the cast.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anthony Hopkins, I think Ed Skrein, Jenna Malone, Jaimin Hansu.
What's the name of it again?
Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go on IMDb here, take a look.
Cast.
Charlie Hunnam, Sophia
wow.
Botella, Stuart Martin, Michael Hussman, Anthony Hopkins, Carrie Ewells, Corey Stoll, Jenna Malone, Ed Skrein, Jaimin Hansu.
That does have a good cast.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not that movie. I was going to say Carrie Hart. But Carrie Hart left Lucasfilm. She was on the story group, or one of the executives, and she's going to produce Gareth Edwards' new film, which is Loaded 2. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Really interesting.
There you go. Looking forward to. They haven't started filming that, have they?
What?
The Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah, it's done. It's in post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh. It should come out this year. But someone just told me it might not come out this year because it's like heavy post.
Dang.
So, yeah, Netflix is throwing a lot of money at it, hopefully thinking it's a series. I know they're going to do Army of the Dead Part 2, I believe. That's another Zack Snyder franchise that Netflix has going. So
I want Max Rebo to fully walk out with his 2 legs and 2 arms on Tatooine when they go back this season to Mando. I just want to see him just
So if he stood up, right, and
Just walking
he
around
was
like
and he was like this, and it was just the two arm hands. I think that would be best. I think that would
no.
make you feel funny.
I
Scratching his
would
face with his foot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so all right, here is the argument, right? Like, boom, he's in this. People argue, oh, that's not his his arms, that's his legs. He's only got 2 limbs, and they're only saying that because they can't see it. But all of the merchandise,
And in the and in the concept designs, and also for the comic book.
okay,
You
and
know.
and again, here's the argument for that. That was the
Oh, no.
concept art. That was the original design. They did make it for the movie, but when they were getting ready to film, they had 3 puppeteers, right? So someone was controlling the head, the ears, and everything, and then his legs, and then his eyes, and all that stuff, and then his movements. But George Lucas already thought that was way too complicated because they had 4 puppeteers for Jabba, and they were like, it's just this one character that's not even a main character. Why don't we just put a guy in the costume? And that's what they ended up doing, and that's why you have this.
If you think about it, his like suction cup fingers are perfect for holding the pram that Grogu's in. You like palm it, like just
yeah. But that's why that is the canon way that Max Rebo looks, and it's not the only 2 limbs look, because this is all the merchandise, and there's a couple of comics, yes, but at the same time, we know that the screen, like on screen, always is always more canon than all the books and everything like that. That's my argument for that. I don't know how this turned into me arguing about Max Rebo, but Josh,
I don't know, but we gained viewers while you were doing this. So I just let you go.
But yeah. So I would just love to see him just slowly walk down the streets of Mos Eisley, of just, of that scene of where we see Mando coming in, landing like on the planet of Tatooine, and then you just see him just maybe he is leaving the cantina, he looks up and is like, boom, there you go, he survived. All right. That's all
Cool.
I want.
So yeah, before we go, I'm going to read off all of our socials, but I ask you this question. Think about the top 3 characters you think that will save Grogu in the show. So I'll give you some time to think about that. I'll tell everyone where they can find us. Of course, you can support us on Patreon at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. We just uploaded a great debate between Colin and James, where they discussed why The Last Jedi was great, why it was bad. Very interesting stuff. I mediated. Also, if you're watching us now on YouTube, thank you very much. Hit the like and subscribe button, and check us out here for the video. And of course, if you join Patreon, you can watch us there too. Instagram, we are at Star Wars Stuff Podcast, and Colin runs that. He's always dropping new stuff daily, multiple things. You can find us on Twitter at Stuff Pod. I drop stuff there sometimes, polls and stuff like that. So I actually did a poll on Facebook. I know we had an interesting kind of back and forth in Messenger about people liking Tatooine. So the poll I put was, who likes Tatooine and who doesn't? I think the last time I saw it was like 49 people love Tatooine against like 5 people or something. So I know that really doesn't address the whole subject of having to go back there and seeing more sand, but I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I think there's a lot to tell on Tatooine. There's a lot of stories there still. Also, you can email us at StarWarsStuffPodcast@gmail.com. Of course, I referenced the Facebook group. We have a page too. Apple, 5 stars would be great. Write us a review. They are entertaining. And Colin, who are the top 3 characters that you think logically could save Grogu?
Well, of course, Mace Windu. That makes sense to me. Joe Costanu is up there as well. Because of the only real story that we have is like we know that she gets killed by Vader, but we don't, know anything really about during the events of Order 66. So that would be super cool if she ended up coming in. I don't know if the live action actress is still alive, but the last one, I don't know, man. Like there was a lot of Jedi that were still on Coruscant. I don't think I was always a favorite of the Jedi Master Sindralik, and he was played by the stunt coordinator who did all of the lightsaber fights in the prequels. I would love if that happened. That would be super cool. But Mace Windu makes the most sense to me.
Okay.
No.
Josh?
I think Mace Windu for sure. I think it's either Mace Windu, an absolutely unnamed character that is going to pop up everywhere after this, or it's going to be some rebel clones. Something interesting to do with a clone defect. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I think it's going to be either, but my main thing is it's either someone completely new that we have no idea about, or it's going to be Mace Windu.
Yeah, it seems like the popular answer. I think people are kind of like subconsciously wanting Mace Windu to do it. I feel like what we got in season 2 of The Mandalorian, the big shock of Luke Skywalker, I think Filoni and Favreau want to build that into this story as well. We're going to get a big, shocking character to show up. And that was interesting, I think, Colin, that you brought up Lando. A young Lando would be really cool to see. But, man, I just feel like Mace Windu, it's going to be like what Star Wars is. It rhymes, it repeats itself. And Samuel L. Jackson went to George Lucas and he said that he wanted to be in Star Wars. And George Lucas put him in there. And I think Samuel L. Jackson's going to do the same thing with Filoni and Favreau. Hey, I want to be put in Star Wars, and he's going to be put back in as a classic character. To me, that's the only place you can put him in logically, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. So, yeah. But it'd be cool to see R2-D2 save him. I mean, they look like they're buddies at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, and of course, my other theory is multiple Jedi that we don't know. But I do like your theory, Josh, that they introduce a new character that they can expand on, and someone that doesn't have to be deep faked, and maybe a younger character that they can bring back for successive seasons. Although I think the rumor is it's going to stop after season 4. But I think Grogu's going to continue on, man. I think they're going to go back to the Grogu well as many times as they possibly can. So even if the Mandalorian ends, I think we're going to have the continuing adventures of Grogu somehow. So,
yeah. Man, so exciting.
All right. So for Colin, Josh, my name is David. May the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.